So regarding trying new things and all those personality traits and approaches, so being resilient, adaptability, visionary, determined, etc. What have been some of your most successful investments? Can you continue with examples now in your area of expertise with your clients?
Sure, for sure. I mean, I'm more of a visionary guy. I can listen, I'm a closer too, and I've always been able to close, and I'm visionary, but execution, it's difficult, and someone needs to do it on a day-to-day basis, and there's a lot of moving parts, in an equation. So my most successful venture was, I had an oil and gas company that I created with my partner. It was a Canadian company. We had an asset, we had an oil concession in Kenya, and we acquired the concession and we started this company. We raised a bunch of money for the company, but we realized very quickly this project was too big for us alone. So we hired a professional CEO and a professional chief geologist. We brought a CEO that came out of Apache, energy, big major producer. We brought a COO who was like COO chief geologist. He came out of Anadarko, another massive company. And they were driving, the ship and leading the company. We were in the background with the vision and helping to finance it. And, we took it as far as we could. And we came into the financial crisis and it needed serious money. And, we were at the crossroad where the company is either going to go bust or you're going to have to, team up and partner with someone that not only has vision like you, but actually can execute and has experience as an entrepreneur executing a large-scale project. So we merged the company with a company called Africa Oil. Africa Oil was part of the Lundin Group. Lucas Lundin, who passed away this past summer, was one of Canada's greatest resource entrepreneurs of all time. I mean, just a total legend. Total legend. The best resilience I've ever seen, the most charismatic, the most determined, fantastic. His company went from $1 billion market cap to 220 in the crisis, but they had cash. They had a exceptional management team, exceptional CEO and a gentleman named Keith Hill. They had a great CFO and a gentleman named Gary Guidry. So two amazing entrepreneurs that were within his group that had experience as C-suite executives, but also as entrepreneurs who could execute. So we merged our company. They acquired us in an all-share transaction, and they brought in a big operator to operate the block. They drilled, and they, drilled multiple wells and turned it into a producing block. And Kenya is now an oil-producing nation because of Africa Oil's execution on our concession. And we were a big part of that equation. But would have we been able to do it on our own? Maybe. I doubt it. I don't think we'd be able to. No, they raised, a couple $1 billion to execute the project. I don't think anyone would have given us a couple $1 billion. Maybe we'd raise 100, 200 million in a good market, but that wasn't enough for the project. And so sometimes the greatest skill of an entrepreneur is to also know when to let go of their baby and move it up the food chain. Okay. Some of the greatest success stories, I made more money on that project by handing it to someone else and letting them carry the baton and drive the ship and take it forward than if I held on to it myself. Sometimes you make more money by owning a smaller piece of a massive pie than by owning a big piece of a smaller pie that nobody wants to eat. You understand? So it's, it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. There are certain types of foods, I have across the street from my house a Polish restaurant. It's fantastic. I love it. And I think it's the best food ever. 3 doors down, there's a burger place, which is terrible, but there's a lineup of 100 people outside the burger place every day. And I can always get a table at the Polish restaurant, so the audience is smaller than the other place, but it's their ability, right? And so the difference is that this bigger company had a much better ability to execute on their business plan than we did. And so we made a lot more money by being a smaller player in a bigger company. And so that's probably one of my biggest, I would say that's my biggest success. And it's rare for me because up until that point in 2009, my exit plan was always through an IPO or a listing of my own companies and my own businesses. I never thought about creating a business and giving it to someone else to take public. That was never my strategy. I would have never looked at that. And in the past 10, 12 years, that strategy changed. I said, hey, sometimes you can make more money by creating the opportunity, nurturing it and scaling it up, and then handing it off to someone else who is higher up the food chain than you. It's also important for people, be ambitious and punch above your belt, but also know your place on the totem pole. Do you understand, Martin? Know what your limitations are. Sometimes people think it's great to think and aspire for great things and think you can do anything and you can do everything, but also you need to be realistic, with your expectation levels.